Hey, this is Craig, and we're taking a look at the Pantech Flex. Pantech has always been a big name when it comes to budget devices, and while the Flex fits in that category, it packs quite a punch. It's available now on AT&T, and it costs only $20 with a 2-year contract. It has a Snapdragon S4 dual-core processor clocked at 1.5 GHz, which is actually the same chip that's in the Galaxy S3 and the Nokia Lumia 920. It's also got 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of internal storage. The screen is a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED QHD display, and it offers great touch response and decent viewing angles. However, text and smaller icons appear slightly blurry due to its pin-tile matrix technology, but like most Super AMOLED displays, the screen features deep blacks and great color saturation. The Pantech Flex is incredibly thin, and while most of the phone is made of plastic, its build quality feels really robust. However, the design is kind of quirky. The back has weird indentations, and part of the battery cover is a lighter shade of gray than the rest, which doesn't really serve a huge function from what I've noticed. The biggest negative of the phone's design is the placement of the micro USB port in the power button. The power button is on the side in the middle, with the micro USB port a little further up. I've discovered that holding the phone will leave your thumb covering up the micro USB port, so that's essentially where the power button should be. And I'm not really sure why Pantech couldn't have just put the micro USB port on the bottom where it should belong. As far as the software, the Flex runs Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich. One of the unique aspects of this device is that there are two different user interface modes. There's the traditional Android UI that we all know and love, and then there's what Pantech calls Easy Experience mode. Easy Experience essentially gives you an extremely user-friendly interface if you're not too familiar with the traditional Android experience. It gives you one home screen that's very easy to navigate, and it gives you quick access to all the essential features and apps, like the dialer, camera, and web browser. Overall, I really like this simpler interface. Even for Android experts, the Easy Experience can be a nice break from the traditional Android UI. The Flex's camera is probably one of the weaker areas of the phone's software. It has an 8 megapixel sensor, but as with many budget smartphones, the camera lacks a lot of quality, and there are a surprisingly low number of settings that can be changed around. However, HDR mode does a fairly decent job, and outdoor photos look pretty good as well. But don't expect the camera to be good enough to replace your dedicated shooter. Benchmarks of the Flex proved that the phone can keep up with top-tier devices like the HTC One X and Samsung's Galaxy Nexus. Obviously, that's because of the S4 that's inside of the Flex. Navigating through the phone's UI is pretty flawless as far as performance, and animations and transitions are quite smooth. Swiping to another home screen takes a little longer than most other phones, but it's not from the lack of smoothness. It just seems that Pantech just made it this way. The battery life of the Flex is average and nothing spectacular. Heavy usage didn't take too much of a toll, but it seems leaving the phone on overnight drains the battery significantly. I noticed when I woke up the next morning that the battery life fell by about half, which was obviously surprising. If you decide to grab this phone, you'll definitely want to make sure you turn it off before heading to bed if you want it to last throughout the morning. However, I still got around a full 24 hours for moderate usage. Overall, the Flex packs quite a punch performance-wise, especially for only $20, but the design of the phone is extremely weird and kind of disappointing. However, the two different user experience modes definitely makes the Flex a unique option for both novices and experts who are on a budget.